Hello and welcome StarCraft 2 viewers to another amateur cast done by myself, Kopo, on the Gaming Canucks YouTube channel. Tonight we will be viewing a PvZ on the map Shattered Temple, PvZ being Protoss versus Zerg. Up here at about the 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock position we have our red Zerg, wPsSanf, and down here in the 6, 7 o'clock position we have our blue Protoss Chosen. Chosen obviously being the Chosen One. Who would dare fight the Chosen One, am I right? I would be very, very scared to play this Protoss right now. Sanf is probably sitting over there quaking in his boots as he's realizing that he has to play Chosen. The map today is Shattered Temple, and it just so happens these guys are spawning on close by air positions. No position on this map is really close by ground per se. No matter where you spawn, you have a fair distance to traverse by ground. But in the positions that these guys have spawned in today, they are close by air. This means that a fast tech to air would be very, very beneficial. I don't predict seeing any Void Rays, but maybe an Overlord drop or two would be very, very easy to get into the back of the Protoss' base by the Zerg. We see an Overlord scouting over here. Obviously, he's going to figure out very, very quickly that the Protoss is close to him. As soon as he manages to see this pylon, we will count this time down until he manages to spot some sort of a Protoss structure. We will count it down. There we go. There he sees the Nexus. Is he going to realize it? Is he going to realize it? Is he going to realize it? I'm sure he will give him enough time. Drone's still scouting up in the other positions. Obviously just double checking to make sure. His Overlord does appear to have seen this now, so I don't believe he'll do any additional scouting. Unless it is to discover, of course, what the Protoss is doing. But now he at least knows where he is, which is obviously a huge advantage. Protoss has also now found the Zerg. Sees that the spawning pool is about half done by this point. Definitely not getting 6 pooled, 8 pooled, or 10 pooled. Actually, by the time this might be a 10 pool, my apologies. Gas coming down. Could be seeing some quick ling speed here. Very popular strategy for the Zerg. Put some drones on the gas until you get 100. Just enough to put down that ling speed and then just pump out lings like you have no idea how to do anything else. I know for about the 3 times that I've played Zerg in my life, ling are the only thing I really know how to make. I go mad 4 or 5 bases and pump ling. And that's if I don't die horribly to any sort of one Zealot, one Stalker at the 10-minute mark type push, because that is all it takes to destroy me when I play Zerg. We see the Zerg player has chosen to spread his Overlords out, definitely giving him a little bit of map control there. Don't hate that play by the Zerg. Obviously that's one of the advantages to having flying supply, so you can send them out to the map and overlook a lot of things. Downside to that being they are quite easy to pick off. They aren't exactly the fastest little beasts. Just we'll call them little buggers because they kind of remind me of mosquitoes when they're zoomed in up close. But the advantage of having floating supply is definitely you can get that map control. Disadvantage is that any sort of a unit that can attack air, like Stalkers by the Protoss for example, can pick these things off. No problem at all. See a queen out vomiting her larvae onto the hatchery there. Drone just kind of hanging out down here. Don't really know what he's up to. Might be doing something sneaky down there. And we see that the probe that was doing some scouting has planted a pylon close-ish to the base. Actually, I shouldn't say it was a probe that did the scouting, because the probe that did the scouting appears to still be in here. Not yet taken care of by the queen, but give it enough time and I'm sure that'll be done. Pylon over here definitely could see some proxy work. I don't know if you can actually build a building behind there, but if you can, it would be a great place to hide tech. If not, more likely you'll probably see some warp-ins. See warp gate coming down now, not incredibly relying on this warp gate, although I do imagine we might be seeing drops the 4th gateway now to ensure my prediction before I even said it. We're going to be seeing some type of a 4 warp gate play here. Currently boosting his warp gate out, trying to get it out. Definitely the standard Protoss wall in too. I like the gateway Cybercore and the Zealot, who is on hold position. Very, very nice. We'll see these 4 gateways come out and probably see some early pressure making use of this pylon. As I say that though, there's some lings that do not yet have speed moving across the map. Speed coming down. Speed is about what are we going to call that? 7/8 of the way done. Correct me if I'm wrong. His lings are touching the watchtower just to make sure there's nothing tricky going on by the Protoss. I don't believe he has not seen this pylon yet. Definitely a huge disadvantage there. If he had seen this pylon, he could take it out and deny any sort of a warp in, but as it stands right now, we'll have to see how Protoss manages to use that hidden pylon. Speed now down for the lings. You can see they have the nice little wing type structures on their backs now, definitely allowing them to move faster. We have one ling coming down here for a little bit of scouting, but he's going to be picked off quickly by that combination of that Stalker and Zealot. Never really stood a chance, but the Overlords are getting a nice spread here so they can see a good majority of the map, and now the lings are coming in. They obviously feel that this is something that they can break. I don't relish their chances, however. Oh, and we're actually going to see them sit back and take advantage of this Baneley nest that I obviously did not see come down at all. They're actually going to hang out with their drone buddy who's been sitting over here for quite some time, all lonely. We're going to see some Baneleys in here. I would not be surprised to see a Baneley bust trying to break down this wall. That is what Baneleys would be used for in this case. We see the Baneleys moving forward. Probe does not get that pylon down, and the Baneleys come through, and can they bust through this wall? They bust through the Zealot. Force field prevents that one Baneley from getting through, and he'll be picked off from a distance. Ling's coming in now. I don't imagine they'll do a whole lot of damage. That force field's still there to block off the wall. More Baneleys getting morphed down here, probably trying to further bust through this wall. I imagine Lings are still... Oh, no Lings being produced at the main, but Baneley's still hatching, forming down here. Protoss trying to warp in some more units to make sure to prevent this bust. This looks like it might be a little bit too much for the Protoss to handle, though. This amount of Baneleys, not enough range units to take them out, and they will just break right through this. Cyberdeck square goes down, Zealots go down. Force field's not there in time. Protoss's main army still remains intact, but his Wallen is gone, and this gateway has suffered some serious damage. And these Lings will go back home and recuperate. They actually did a fairly decent job. They didn't ever get into the mineral line to do any sort of damage there, but they did manage to break this wall. See if the Zerg can take advantage of that at all, or if he decides that it was better to just absorb his losses and go back and macro. Robotics facility down now for the Protoss, getting an observer out, but he is supply blocked. Obviously, he was a little bit distracted by this play and forgot to get his pylon on 42. Again, not highest level play, but I have been quite impressed by the choices that the Zerg made. Baneley bust was actually not a bad idea, and this Protoss did a very, very good job with force fields to hold it off. See hatchery now going down for the Zerg player, obviously getting his expansion up fairly late for a Zerg player. Nothing wrong with not taking early expansion, though. I like to see early pressure by Zerg. I do believe they have, contrary to popular belief, I mean, everybody thinks a fast expanding Zerg is a very good idea. It's not a bad idea, don't get me wrong, but I do believe that they also have a lot of options for early harass. I mean, early Ling, early speed Ling, Banelings can do miles and miles of damage that another player can never recover from. A fast expand is a good idea if you want to play a macro match, but if you want to play on early pressure, I do believe Zerg has a lot of options to be able to pull that off. See observer out of the robotics facility, probably going over, as I speak, the observer is going to go over to the other base, check and see if he sees anything tricky. So far all he would see is a Baneley nest, a spawning pool, and what looks like a roach warren coming up. He also sees an expansion coming down, almost completed. Lings gathering in the center of the map. Obviously he's trying to make sure that they will be aware if the Protoss ever decides to push out, but right now he is just massing up very, very gas heavy, using lots of sentries. His resources are actually sitting fairly mineral heavy, but because he's invested so much money into these stalkers and these sentries, not really a ton of zealots by comparison. Only the one observer out of the robotics facility, but he's doing his job very well by telling the Protoss exactly what's been going on in this base as lair tech just comes up for the Zerg. Has not yet made use of this pylon over here. See if he manages to warp in if he ever decides to push. Warp in some reinforcements using that pylon. It's never... If he hasn't made use of it yet, it's still not a bad thing to have there, especially if the Zerg who is still not aware of its existence. What a shame. See the Protoss moving out now. Lack of map control, but that's okay. We'll go back to the everyone cam. Again, I refer back to my point about scouting overlords are great. They give you great map control, but they are very easy to pick off. If he picks off this overlord here, it looks like he's going to run right by it. But he can easily supply block the Zerg if he picks off any more overlords, and these ones are very, very vulnerable. I don't know why he has them sitting out here in such a vulnerable position. These stalkers are going to make easy work of this one. Well, the sentries and zealots hang back and just let him do his work. That one falls. More overlords are likely to fall to these stalkers, and he will be further supply blocked. This obviously prevents him from getting more reinforcements, and huge supply difference right now, 40 to 73. The Zerg is not macroing very hard at all. Lings are forced to retreat, a couple roaches out, but they won't do a ton against this Protoss ball. It'll be marching towards them fairly soon, I'd have to assume. Also aided with reinforcements by this pylon here again, which may come into play. See the observer moving out here just to double check the army size. 2 spine crawlers being dropped by the Zerg, trying to defend himself. Static defenses are never a bad idea, but they are if you're facing an army of this size. Protoss expanding down here behind his push. Always a good idea. Lower league players, remember, if you're going to make a big timing push, always expand behind it. Not as always as a general rule, or not always, but as a general rule, you should expand behind a push because it allows you to maintain an economy while still doing decent damage to your opponent. See if you can just keep these guys on the edge of each other's view here. If Protoss was pushing right now, he would definitely win this, even with spine crawlers now completed. See Protoss kind of baiting the Zerg a little bit. One lane goes down. Both are a little bit too afraid to do a whole bunch, but with that high sentry count, I would not be surprised to see some very, very a plethora of force fields, if you will. Spine crawlers are going to go down very quickly to these zealots. And lings are force fielded back. They can't even come to reinforce their own static defenses. And they're force fielded off the main ramp, so they can't even run away back to their main. This definitely looks like it's going to fall to this Protoss ball. I don't see a lot that the Zerg can do right now. He's just going to get picked off very, very quickly. And apparently the Zerg also decided that this was the time when he would leave the game. I was very, very impressed, actually, by the Protoss' force fields here. He went very sentry heavy. Obviously lots of gas there. He didn't really dump his minerals too well. He has 825 still sitting here, and he was pretty much supply capped. He was hoping that he would either lose units here or win the game outright, because he would have a hard time recovering a little bit of his forces there. But he did have a lot of gateways up. He had his nexus just coming down. But his force field placement was very well done. He force fielded here so that the lings were unable to aid the spine crawlers in this attack, and he also force fielded here just so that the lings wouldn't be able to run back up to the base. Forces the lings to go all the way around here to be able to attack, and they were unable to do that with any sort of efficiency because that creates a funnel point right here that would allow the Protoss units just to pick them off at will for the most part. Again, Overlord placement, if you're going to do the map control type Overlords, make sure you keep them away from anti-air units, guys. Those stalkers just absolutely decimated the Zerg and supply blocked him horribly. I do believe it was 40 out of 20 at one point. And that is my lesson for the day. Against Protoss, all you Zerg players, keep your Overlords safely hidden unless you have an excess of them and are able to do some scouting that way. Alright, well, that's my cast for tonight. My name has been Kopo. Again, check out our channel if you're interested in more amateur casting. And I will see you guys later.